Real quick before the video starts, I have a new channel based around green tech stories on 4chan, and I'll be uploading videos daily over there. If you're interested, I'll leave a link to the channel in the description. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Status Silver in the AITA subreddit. The post is titled, "I refuse to allow my stepdaughter to use one of my cars. I told her to get a job and buy one instead. My husband and I have a 5-year-old son together, and he has an 18-year-old daughter, Sally, from his previous marriage. Sally is an entitled, manipulative young lady who has spent her entire life milking the child of divorce card in order to make her parents feel bad for her and give her everything she wanted. As a result, she is now a lazy adult with poor grades in school, no perspective, no job, and no desire to get a job or do anything with her life. Although my husband and her biological mother are both responsible for how she turned out, instead of coming together and working towards helping her, they prefer to blame each other and do everything they can to undermine the other. For example, if my husband punishes Sally by not giving her spending money, her mother will immediately throw money at her. If her mother takes her car away as a punishment, my husband will immediately give her his car to use to go places. It's a very strange dynamic they have and very different from what he has with me. When I asked him why he is so different in terms of parenting my son with me versus Sally with her biological mother, he said I am his wife and a normal, sane woman who he can actually communicate with. Whatever, I feel like they are both wrong, but Sally is not my daughter, and I am happy I do not have to spend too much time with her. Now that summer break has started, Sally has the most important problem in the world. Her car broke down and she needs one to use this summer to go places, meet her friends, go to parties, and so on. Her mother is not willing to give her the car because she needs it to go to work, my husband needs his car to go to work, and neither of them is willing to buy her a new one. So Sally, the genius, found the perfect solution and asked me to give her one of my cars. To be clear, I have 2 cars, a big SUV that was given to me by my employer and a smaller one that I use when I go into town because it is easier to park. I refused and told her she could not use either of my cars. She insisted and said I do not need 2 cars at the same time, but she needs one to get around. I told her she was free to use public transportation or get a job and buy one herself. Now, Sally is going around to my husband's relatives complaining that I am trying to exploit her and send her to work. I had a good laugh about this with my husband's sister, but my mother-in-law claims I could have just refused instead of telling her to get a job. I am a little confused about what is so bad about telling an adult to get a job. It is not like I sent a 12-year-old to work for her food or anything. Update. Thank you for all the feedback you provided on my previous post. I really appreciate that you spent your time giving me some ideas. The majority of you advised me to hide my car keys because Sally would most likely try to steal one of my cars when I'm not home. You are not far from the truth because she often does this with her mother's car, meaning she will take the car when her mom is not home without asking if she needs it later or asking for permission. So your advice makes a lot of sense. However, I refuse to do such a thing in my own home. I believe if I end up in a position where I have to hide my things in my own house, we will have a bigger problem that needs to be solved. Also, where does this stop? Today, I have to hide my car keys, later my money, later my purse. This is not the kind of life I want to have, and it never happened to me as a teenager or young adult. When I used to live with my parents, I knew where everything was. Car keys, money, documents, jewelry, and so on, and I never took anything without asking. So after reading the comments from Board360, thank you, by the way, I had a good laugh. I decided to follow their advice, but in a less dramatic way. I sat my husband and his daughter down to have a chat. I made it clear in front of my husband that Sally insisted she use one of my cars and I do not agree with it. Then I told Sally that I know she sometimes takes her mother's car without asking and warned her not to dare do anything with my cars when I'm not home because if she does, I will call the police and report the car stolen. She was shocked and asked me if I would stoop so low as to report her for stealing just for a car that I do not use or need anyway. I told her it is not me who would stoop so low, but her, because taking something that does not belong to you, especially after being told no, is the clear definition of stealing. So yes, I would report it. I think for the first time in her life, she understood there will be consequences for her actions and she did not protest further. After this, I asked her to clarify in front of my husband how it is that me suggesting she get a job makes me a person who tries to exploit her based on what she told my mother-in-law and sister-in-law. My husband had no idea about it and he just exploded. After hearing what happened, he told her it is good that we hear what she talks about behind our backs, because he will give her even more reasons to complain. My husband told her she will not be seeing any money from him during this summer. Sally started crying and told him he cannot do this, but my husband told her he can and he will. His responsibility as her parent is to feed her, buy her clothes, and help her pay for school items, but that is it. She is an adult, and if she wants to party or see her friends, she should start paying for it herself since she never appreciated anything she was given. Apparently, this is the hill my husband is willing to die on, and he even told his ex-wife about his plans, making it clear that if she wants to support Sally's activities this summer, she will have to do it alone because he will not contribute to anything that is not a necessity. So yeah, this is where we are now. Sally stormed out of our house and, of course, went to her grandmother to complain, but I am waiting. If my mother-in-law opens any discussions about it with me, I will make it clear she is free to support Sally as much as she wants. We are not stopping her. Glittering Banana said, I hate when parents weaponize their kids. It never turns out well. To this comment, Marie O. Marlin said, maybe it is misplaced, but I feel bad for the stepdaughter. She is freshly 18 and is expected to act like an adult when her own parents went out of their way to never teach her how to be one. If she were 26, I would say sure, but she stopped being a child just a minute ago. What the hell was the expectation? They failed Sally, and now that is Sally's problem. The second post was made in the relationship advice subreddit by a user named Wild Salamander. The post is titled, I found my partner on Hinge. As the title says, we were walking and she was showing me something on her phone. In the most recent apps, I saw Hinge. I asked her about it and she said she had been using it to scroll through, like social media. She showed me the most recent messages and there was nothing there. She said she had not spoken to anyone on the app and had not met with anyone. She also said she had not changed her pictures. I left because I had to think about things. A few days later, we met and I asked to go through her Hinge. She said she had deleted the app and I asked her to re-download it. She did. She was doing something on the app in front of me, so I asked for the phone. She had uploaded new pictures because she looks good in them and there was nothing else on there. I asked what she was doing while I was waiting. She said she was looking at her profile, so I asked her again. She then said she had deleted messages. I asked why, and she said they were personal and from before we got together. She had also previously unmatched me, but not them. From all this, she is annoyed at me for being cold about the way I went about things and the fact that I breached her trust by going through her Hinge. I was ready to end things, but we had a holiday booked a few days later, so we went. Throughout the holiday, she showed me that she really cared about me, and it really messed my head up. I know it is over and I need to move on, but I just feel like I need to know if she has cheated on me or not. However, she gets defensive when I bring it up. I know I am being a complete idiot, but please give me your honest thoughts about the situation. Update. So I went to see her to have the talk. We started with some small talk and then she broke up with me. This honestly took me by surprise. She said she had thought about why she had been on Hinge and that she was just unsure about me. Even after a year of being exclusive, she is still unsure and is not sure if she will ever be sure. She also mentioned how upset she was that I broke her trust by going through her Hinge and that I never really trusted her. But ultimately, she said she broke it off because it is not fair to me. She still remains adamant that she did not cheat and that she has never lied to me, even though she deleted messages and changed her profile pictures despite my previous requests. She then started to talk about all the nice times we have had together and how I'm such a good guy. She cried a lot and then stayed at the door as I drove off. My question is, what the hell just happened? Once again, I feel like I am in the wrong. I think she may have a little cognitive dissonance with the Hinge thing and cannot admit to herself what she has done. I also question if she thinks that she has done anything wrong. The whole trust thing is utter nonsense. Looking back, I gave her the benefit of the doubt in situations where I probably should not have, but I trusted her. I know you guys were right and this needed to be over, but it sucks that she broke up with me. Obviously, I am very upset and miss her, but I think I miss the idea of her more than the real person. I understand it may take time, but I will get over this and be even stronger on the other side. It just really sucks at the moment, so any advice to help me get over this would be appreciated. I have a lot to process and think about, but if you want another post about relationships, just let me know. I am finding it pretty cathartic to write it down. For your information, the holiday mentioned in my previous post was for a marathon, which is why I felt like I had to go even though it really confused things for me. Baltonerdis said, I once had a boss fire me from a job and then try to convince me he was doing the right thing for me and that I would be much better off without the job. Same vibes here. To this user, Brilliant Noise said, I had a similar incident. He was basically saying I was not right for this line of work. It pissed me off to no end at the time. Many years later, he was right. Do not get me wrong, he was a terrible boss running a terrible company. Part of the evidence is that he hired me, someone who had no business developing in a programming language we both knew, but I did not know. But I was also a terrible developer. I am much happier now. This final story was made in the Off My Chest subreddit by a user named No Dinner Invite. The post is titled, I keep meeting my birth mom, but she doesn't know it's me. She had me when she was 14. I am a 24-year-old man who was given up for adoption. My parents told me about her while I was growing up. I still have the letter she wrote me in which she asked if they could give it to me if they wanted. It is crazy reading it sometimes and knowing it was written by a literal child who said she was sorry she could not be my mommy but hoped I would be happy. She was open to having contact, but we moved from my dad's job when I was 11 and then it seemed impossible to find her, but luckily I did. She is working at this small restaurant and I keep going, but she does not know it is me. We talk sometimes and she seems like a nice lady. Sometimes when she says something like, do you want a refill, honey, or uses another term like that, I want to tell her. I do not know why it makes me nervous. We talk sometimes and she seems really genuine. If it is not very busy, she is more open to talking about random stuff. I literally drive 2 hours to come eat at this place just to see her. It is like she knows me already because I've been there once or twice a week for the past 3 months. So she always says hi with a big smile, but man, if only she knew. Update, well, I did it. I told her, and yeah, it was pretty heavy. My heart was even beating fast. I kept trying to think about how to tell her. Many of the comments on my last post here mentioned writing her a letter, just like she wrote a letter for me. Originally, that was the plan, but for me, it felt like I needed to say it. Oh, really quick, I want to say thanks to everyone for their love and support, mostly to all the birth parents out there who shared their stories with me. That really helped push me to have the courage to confront her. It meant so much, so thanks. Everything happened the day before yesterday, by the way. I did wait for her to be done with her shift, and that was when they were closing the restaurant already. I waited in the parking lot. We said hi when she saw me first, but then I told her there was something serious she needed to know. First, I told her sorry for keeping it from her this long. She didn't react until I actually pulled out her letter. Then she started bawling, like screaming and crying at the same time, and I didn't even have to finish the whole "I'm your son" speech. She just saw it and knew. It was crazy. The next thing I knew, she was hugging me instantly, but then she pulled back and asked if it was okay to hug me. Of course it was, and we just stayed there hugging and crying in the parking lot. It hit her hard though. Her legs gave out for a second, so I had to actually hold her up while she was still hugging me for a minute. What really got me was her saying to me, "Look how big you got." Also, hearing her cry made me cry too. She went back to open the restaurant. We had coffee, ate a slice of their pie inside, and talked. So many things we talked about. She told me the second time I came to the restaurant, she got a feeling, but for her, it was hard to believe it was me. So that feeling she had was pushed way down. She told me that for years after I was adopted, she saw kids my age and used to think they were me. Then she would be crying in public. It messed with her mind a lot and made her depressed, so she didn't want to do the same when she saw me, getting her hopes up like that. She says I look so much like my biological dad when he was younger though. We talked about him too. They stayed in contact with each other in case I ever reached out to one of them, so it would be easier to contact the other. I didn't have hope about finding my biological dad since he was never mentioned, so I'm glad they both planned for this future scenario. She told me about how they wanted to keep me, especially my biological dad. He didn't want me to be adopted, but he knew they had to because they were just kids. It took him a long time to get past it after I was born, she told me. That's why he didn't leave anything, because he didn't want to believe he might not see me again. We talked for hours until almost 2 in the morning. She just wanted to know everything about me, but her main thing was, am I happy? Were my parents good to me? Did I have a happy childhood? And I did. I told her thank you for helping to give me this life. We both cried again. She cried the most. Everything was very emotional for her. Sometimes she would look really happy, but then get sad again. After my 18th birthday, she was hoping I would find her. That's why she stayed in the same city, but since I didn't, she always thought maybe I resented her, wasn't told I'm adopted, or maybe had decided it was better not to have her around. It made me feel bad for not telling her sooner. She told me it is not my fault, and I did right going at my own pace. Honestly, she's so sweet. The way she kept looking at me with the biggest smile made me emotional sometimes. It makes you think, how can someone who's been a total stranger your whole life look at you with so much love? It's wild. We learned so much about each other. She asked me if we could have dinner soon to keep talking, and if at some point in the future, if I'm interested, I can come over to her house to meet her husband. That all sounded really great. We exchanged numbers. After I left, she sent a text thanking me for giving her this gift that she didn't know if it would ever come. My girlfriend came over and she hugged me while I cried. I wasn't sad, by the way, these were happy tears. Everything went better than I expected. There was still emotionally heavy stuff, but I'm still glad that we got to open up to each other. Update 2. Lots of you asked me to let you know how it went meeting my biological dad, and to say it was emotional is an understatement. I have been feeling so many things since this all happened. We met a few days ago. It was originally supposed to be almost 2 weeks ago, but things kept coming up. Work, and then I got sick for days, but we made it happen. To be honest, this was more nerve-wracking for me because I did not know anything about him. With my biological mom, it was different because I watched her from afar and got to know her a little before it happened. I asked my biological mom if she could be there too, just because she knows him better. So it was the two of us waiting for him at this park. He was already crying before we even got to him. This guy is strong too, so he pulled me in for the biggest bear hug, crying. He told me he wants me to know that they love me so much and that he loves me. I lost count of how many times he came back for one more hug. This definitely got to him. He kept saying, "Thank you, God," a few times while looking at my face. The feelings, man, the feelings. We had so many of them. Hearing him tell me how much they loved me even back then meant so much to me, and not going to lie, that had me holding him tight too. I am sure to everyone at the park it was weird seeing 3 crying people. My biological dad said he cried so many times just driving over here that he did not think he had any more tears left until he saw us. When we were all sitting down, it hit me that my biological mom was not lying when she said we look alike. Obviously, he is older, but still, holy shit, the similarities. He brought gifts too, which was a surprise. It was really nice. He told me I do not have to keep them if I do not want to, but he felt weird coming empty-handed, and he has wanted to give this to me for a long time. One was a teddy bear holding a picture frame of him at the hospital holding me. The other was a journal. The journal was stuff he said he started writing to me years after I was adopted. He was in therapy, and that helped him cope, thinking he would give them to me one day. It was his way of still feeling connected to me. I have not read everything yet, but some of the pages were his thoughts, as if he was talking to me, how he felt when they found out she was pregnant, then the adoption, everything going on in his mind when he first got to hold me as a baby. I did not even know he was at the hospital too. It was not what I was expecting. It really got me. I read some more of what he wrote last night, and that really got me crying. I am sad to think about how much this affected them emotionally for years. I also think it is pretty sweet he wanted to write this for me. We talked about his own life, which was pretty hard, his struggles with home life, and the feelings he had about giving me up. Then he wanted to know everything about me, basically the same questions my biological mom had. I made sure they knew they made the right decision because my life was pretty great. He looked like he wanted to cry when he heard that because that is all they hoped for, and it was something he always wondered about for years. My biological mom left a bit after we got more comfortable so we could talk more in private once it did not feel too awkward between us. From there, he told me stories about how he met my biological mom. Sometimes he would point out stuff he noticed about me that reminds him of her or similarities between me and him, like having similar likes. For example, I love eating mangoes. I can eat them all day, and that is what I bought when we bought snacks at the park. He told me my biological mom was obsessed with mangoes even before she got pregnant, and while pregnant, she craved them even more. Just cool info to know, even if it is random stuff. It is still stuff we have in common, and we both have lots. We both like hiking and playing pool. He was a swimmer in college, and I was on a swim team in high school. We both love rock music, especially 90s rock. My biological dad was really open about sharing everything. Like, he was really preparing for this meeting, he hoped it would happen, and he prayed every day to see me again because he had so many things he wanted to tell me. Overall, really good first meeting. I am glad how it went. He is open to the idea of meeting my parents after I tell them about all this because they definitely want to meet my biological parents again if I'm comfortable with that. Obviously, if my biological parents are too. Let's see when that happens. I do not know how it is going to feel for me. They have met each other before I was even born, but I have never had them at the same place, so that will be interesting. My parents and I met up yesterday to have breakfast so I could tell them everything. My mom was so happy about how it went. She actually cried too when I was telling them about both their reactions. My dad was proud because he knew how hard it was the months after finding my biological mom and not really wanting to make contact yet. I am really happy to have their support because it is hard not to feel guilty about wanting to know more about my biological parents. They gave me a really good life, so for a while it felt like maybe to them I was showing them that it was not good enough for me and that I would rather have my biological parents. But they told me many times they want me to do this for me and they know how much I love them, and I really do. Finding them and meeting them was hard, but it was so worth it to me, and seeing their reactions made it feel even more worth it. I still cannot believe it sometimes. I am just realizing this has turned into a long post. My bad. Writing this has been therapeutic, to be honest, kind of thinking back to everything that has happened, feeling really grateful. Again, I want to say thank you to everyone who has been on this journey with me, everyone who sent me their own stories, their love, their encouragement. You guys have beautiful hearts, and I am happy I had somewhere to talk about all this and receive so much love back. Just want to say to all the adopted kids out there, I wish you luck and that you find what you are looking for. It is not easy at all. I feel fortunate that things did not go badly and that my biological parents are not bad people. And to all the birth parents out there who made this sacrifice, thank you. It is because of you there are kids out there like me who got to have a great life with loving parents. Angel Irene said, I'm just realizing this turned into a long post. No, honey, keep going. I want daily updates. I want novella-length special events. I want a movie version. Can I subscribe to this newsletter? I am really happy for OP. This was sickeningly sweet in the best way. Turuyal said, after reading so many horror stories about kids who finally reconnected with their biological parents, I have always held a special place in my heart for this one. The way that OP slowly worked his way to telling his mom, or the way his dad never stopped thinking of him. My biological dad ran off when I was proven to be his. After all, it is not every day you find yourself fortunate enough to be blessed with two entirely separate sets of incredible parents. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, Gamersupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.